Following a storied career with the State Department, he went to the state of New York, where in 1962 he was the Democratic Party's nominee for that state's Attorney General, and pioneered yet again by becoming the first black to ever be the nominee for a statewide office of a major party. He then finished his career by serving over a decade as an Associate Justice of the New York State Supreme Court. And so when I say that we honor and we mark literally a remarkable individual in the history of Roanoke and in the history of our nation, that is not an overstatement by any stretch of the imagination. And so, again, for me to have a small part in that and be the applicant for this application, it is a humbling and honored experience for me. At this time, it's my privilege to introduce the mayor of our city, Sherman Lee, and he is in the waning weeks of his term, having chosen to retire from the office, and I would say to you, it has been my privilege to work with him and his office on these markers. He is a great advocate of the history of this city, and so Mayor Lee, we welcome you and appreciate all of your work on behalf of the Star City, Roanoke.
Good evening, everybody. Let me say I look out and see Bill Best's pitch. Something he said to me that I found out is true, that you have to sign more papers leaving employment than you do coming in.
That's right.
But I'm pleased to be here, and it's an honor for me to stand here today as your mayor while we unveil this historic marker in recognition of Edward Dudley, a man who broke barriers and made an indelible mark not just in Roanoke, but across the nation, as Mayor Harris said. Today we celebrate his achievements, his courage, and his profound legacy. In honoring Edward Dudley, we are reminded of the vital importance of telling all of Roanoke's history to ensure that every story, every voice, and every contribution is given its rightful place in our community. History is not just about the milestones that shaped our city, it's about the people who made those milestones possible. And Edward Dudley, as the first African American to serve as a U.S. ambassador, is one of those trailblazers whose story deserves to be known, celebrated, and preserved. And I'm proud to be here today to share some of that with you. And as I always say, Mayor Harris, once you're mayor, you're always a mayor.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to do that. This unveiling also speaks to a broader mission, our commitment to highlighting Roanoke's history equitably. For too long, really, certain chapters of our past have gone overlooked or understated. By commemorating leaders like Edward Dudley, we are reaffirming that Roanoke's history is not complete without the stories of every person who has helped build and shape the city. We must continue to shine a light on those who have inspired us, challenged us, and made Roanoke a place where resilience and innovation thrive. And I want to take a moment to thank someone who's been a tireless advocate for preserving and sharing Roanoke's rich history. And that's Mayor Nelson Harris.
Yeah.
Nelson, your dedication to uncovering and honoring our past has been instrumental in ensuring that stories like Edward Dudley's remain alive in the hearts and minds of our community. Your work reminds us of the power of history to connect us, to inspire us, and to guide us toward a more inclusive future. Today, as we unveil this marker, let us stand and let it stand as a symbol of our ongoing commitment to equity and remembrance. Let it remind us that history is not static, but a living narrative that grows richer where we include all voices. And let it challenge us to continue seeking out and celebrating the stories that defined us as a community. Thank you all for being here today to honor this moment and to pay tribute to the extraordinary life of Edward Dudley. Together, let us carry forward the legacy of breaking barriers and building bridges, not just for Roanoke, but for the generations to come. Thank you. God bless you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mayor Lee. We are honored and pleased to have with us Dr. Brenda Hale, who is the president of the Roanoke branch of the NAACP. She is here for two reasons. First of all, the branch was the custodian for those who donated towards the marker, but more importantly, because of Edward Dudley's early legal career being with the Legal Defense Fund of the NAACP and for all the inroads that that team made in the early years of civil rights in this country. So, Dr. Hale, we welcome you to come and speak to us on behalf of the NAACP.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It is a great honor to welcome you here today. This is not just another average day. This is a historical, significant day in the history of Roanoke, Virginia, this 8th time All-America City. As the president of the Roanoke branch NAACP, we welcome each and everyone that is present here. We want to also thank Reverend Dr. Nelson Harris. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We also want to thank the city of Roanoke and the library here at Gainesboro. We have waited for this moment a very long time. The unveiling of the Ambassador Edward Richard Dudley marker. Once this was spearheaded by Reverend Dr. Nelson Harris, he became a person of significant interest, not only in the schools, the elementary schools, the high schools, the colleges, but throughout this community. That is what was spearheaded. Learning about this gentleman that made such a significant impact on Roanoke and throughout the world. Roanoke, Virginia has produced their fair share of heroes and sheroes. All right, all right, all right. And we look at the historical nature of what Oliver Hill White did, and we look at the significance of Ambassador Edward Dudley, and let's not forget Mrs. Anita James Price, who was the first African-American woman elected to City Council. Ambassador Edward Richard Dudley shattered glass ceilings all of his life. From Gilmer Avenue to New York City to Liberia. When you shatter, you not only just break, you leave all kind of remnants that you were here. And his bio will tell you all the significant things that he did throughout his life. I am so proud of his accomplishments and his dedication to serve. Not everybody is willing to, number one, be a volunteer and also to serve in the capacities that God blessed them with. I'm so proud of his work in 1943, that he started with the NAACP legal team, writing briefs and preparing cases. When you say these words, they just roll off your lips, but you don't realize what takes place in order to make that happen. It doesn't happen in a nanosecond. It takes lots of work to do this. When you're going to bring about change and when you're fighting for social justice. He worked for students, black students, seeking admission to Southern colleges. Plus, he fought for equal pay for teachers. And is it still equitable? No. We're still fighting that battle. The work that he did with the legendary Thurgood Marshall. They sought to end discrimination toward black people wherever it raised its ugly head. Yes, today we honor him because not only was he an American attorney, not only was he a civil rights activist, not only was he a staunch Democrat, not only was he a dedicated family man, not only was he a judge in New York City, but he was the first African American to hold the rank of ambassador of the United States. And going to Liberia, May the 6th, 1949, yes, Presidents Harry Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower, folks, I stand here today to tell you they got it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hale. And then finally, we are so excited and so honored to have Ambassador Dudley's son with us today. He and his wife flew in last night, a rather windy trip, I'd have to say, from New York just for this occasion. Again, he'll be at the Gainsborough Library and giving a talk following our unveiling. But he has been an absolute pleasure for me to work with on this application and keeping me informed and me keeping him informed. And so we're just so honored to have Ed Dudley and his wife Joan with us today. And so, Ed, we welcome you to Roanoke.
Yes.
And thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to talk more inside. I'm here mainly thanks to the work. Well, let me thank the mayor-elect, Dr. Hale, former mayor Nelson Harris, who has, and the many citizens of Roanoke. I haven't been back here since 1960, but I intend to come many more times. I've been so blessed with making new friends already. But it's not just being the first ambassador. When you open doors like that, when he became the first ambassador in, I think it was 1949, women were not allowed to be ambassadors. Blacks were not allowed to be ambassadors. But it's what he did. He could have been an ambassador in Europe, but he wasn't, because he presented a paper, among many other accomplishments, detailing how the career employees of the State Department that were black went to hardship posts, Black, Haiti, Madagascar, Liberia, whereas the same workers who were white, every 3 or 4 years, were transferred to Europe and other places. As a result of this paper that he sent, that type of discrimination ended. So I am here to give a gift of some of his papers to the librarian at work, because I hope that someday in the future someone will be interested in writing about his many, because that's just one of his accomplishments. So thank you very much, and also to the everyday Roanokean, I don't know the word, people that donated, because this wasn't free.
That's
Mr. Harris did a wonderful job, and he's done this 8 other times. But regular people from Roanoke donated to pay for this. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'm gonna ask Mr. Dudley and Dr. Hale, the mayor. We're gonna give our best effort to get this off the marker and have it unveiling. The traffic department wraps it tight, my friend. So it may not be pretty, but it's going to come off eventually. All right. There you go. There you go.
Woman.
All right.
That's a strong woman.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us. And again, we have a reception for everybody at the Gainsborough Library, and then Mr. Dudley will be giving a talk shortly thereafter in the community room. So I hope that you all can stay for that. But thank you so much for being here today.
Thank y'all. Thank everyone. Thank you. Let's go to the library and get warm.